Welcome to another Study With Me series where in this category I'm going to be tackling safety margins. I'm going to be doing a 20 question mock test where I'll break it down in simple, easy chunks, giving you hints, tips and tricks along the way that you can use while you're studying, and hopefully it helps you pass your theory test first time. So let me jump onto my desktop and let's waste no more time. First question, you're driving along a country road. You see this sign. What should you do after dealing safely with the hazard? Let me just quickly explain what the should means. When it's got should in the question, it's relating to the question. It's something you should be doing in this situation. If it's got should in there, it's something you definitely should be doing related to this situation. Also, while I'm facing you, ford is a lot of surface water. If you didn't know, it's like a burst pipe, flooding, something along those lines. So it's a lot of water. It's going to be covering your wheels. And a little tip as well, a heads up, they can ask the same question about a ford, but it's going to be how would you drive through a ford? And it's going to be slowly and in a low gear, ideally first or second. So let's go back to the question. So just reading the question again to break it down. You're driving along a country road. You see this sign. What should you do after dealing safely with the hazard? Test your brakes. It's going to be that answer because the water's covered your wheels. You just want to tap your brakes before picking up speed when you come out the other side, just to make sure it's working. Switch on your hazard warning lights, no. Check your tire pressure, no. Accelerate briskly, no. What lights should, you got should in that question again, you use when you're driving on a wet motorway and vehicles are throwing up surface spray? When it's a bog standard question, I've said this a lot in my previous videos, but just in case you're new and haven't seen those videos, when it's a bog standard question driving on the motorway, which lights you're going to use? It's going to be headlights or dip lights. It's always going to be that. If they want a different set of lights, they're going to give you more information, i.e. clues like fog lights, parking lights, that type of thing. So rear fog lights, no, because it's not foggy. Hazard warning lights, no. Side lights, no. Side lights is what you turn on when it starts to get a little bit dark, and dip lights is going to be the correct answer. And they can use the word dipped headlights or just headlights on its own. It's the same thing. Don't get thrown off by it. So dipped and the headlights are the same thing. On what type of road surface may anti-lock brakes be ineffective? Anti-lock brakes is just something on the car system that can unlock the brakes if the car goes into a skid. It just releases the brakes for you and reapplies the brakes softly. That's what anti-brakes means. It's unlikely to work on loose surf, i.e. sand, gravel, that type of thing. So we've got loose here, which is the first one. Always read the others. Smooth, no. Firm, no. Dry, no. What's the main cause of skidding? Right, let me just explain this. The main cause of skidding is driver error. 99.9% of skids is driver error. The common answer that most pupils go for is weather. It's got nothing to do with the weather. The driver left it late in all those weather conditions. That's why the car skidded. The other 0.1% is going to be road surface. You're looking for sand, gravel, anything loose. So it's either going to be driver or road surface is what we're looking for. So let's go back to the question. Read the question again. What's the main cause of skidding? The road? No. The driver? Yes, all day long. The weather? No. Remember, the driver left it late in all those weather conditions. That's why it's skidding, not the weather conditions. And the vehicle? No. How should, again, it's got should in there. You use anti-lock brakes when you need to stop in an emergency. Let me just read that again so I've got it clear in my mind. How should you use anti-lock brakes when you need to stop in an emergency? Apply the parking brake to reduce the stopping distance. You should not be using the handbrake and foot brake together. So that's going to be a no. Keep pumping the foot brake to prevent skidding. Pumping's be going on, off the brake. Obviously, if you want to be stopping in an emergency, you don't want to be coming to the brake anytime soon. And brake promptly and firmly until you've stopped. That's a possible. Promptly means quickly for the theory test, and firmly obviously means a good amount of pressure. And brake normally, but grip the steering wheel tightly. If you brake normally, that's like coming to a giveaway line. An emergency, someone's just running in front of you, you're going to want to do it quickly, in this case promptly. In which conditions will your overall stopping distance increase? In which conditions? Okay, in strong winds, no. At night, no. In fog, no. In the rain, yes. It's going to be double in the rain. If it's snow, ice, it's going to be up to 10 times longer. What should you do when you're overtaking a motorcyclist on a windy day? Pass very slowly, no. Pass widely, that's a possible. just in case they swear, because it says windy, so just in case it's being blown around. Pass closely, no, and pass immediately. It's going to be passed widely, give them plenty of space in windy conditions. What should you do when you're driving in snowy conditions? Use side lights only. No. I'm saying no, but I'm still clicking it. I can always change my answer. Brake gently in plenty of time. Brake gently in plenty of time. It's snowy. That's a possible. Spread your braking over a longer distance, in other words. Be ready to steer sharply. You're not going to steer sharply on snowy conditions. You'll make the car skid otherwise. Brake firmly and quickly. And again, if you brake firmly, which is heavy, firm braking is heavy braking, you can end up skidding on that. So it's going to brake gently in plenty of time. In other words, spread your braking over a longer distance. Remember, it's taking you up to 10 times longer to stop in ice and snow conditions. You are traveling, let's start again, dyslexia. You're traveling on the motorway. How can you lower the risk of a collision when the vehicle behind is following too closely? All right, so let me just explain, because this comes up a lot in the classroom. And the pupils always put either switch on hazard lights or ignore the driver, depending what option they give you. And it's not the case. What you want to do, if a driver is following you close behind, otherwise tailgating you, you need to increase the distance between you and the car in front. So let the car pull away slightly by just easing off your gas. You're not going to use your brakes, just ease off the gas. Let the car pull away slightly in front, which means if they stop suddenly, you've got more room to play around with. That's how it works. So you can spread your braking over a longer distance, less risk of the person going in into the back of you. So just reading the question again. You're traveling along the motorway. How can you lower the risk of a collision when the vehicle behind is following too closely? Increase your distance from the vehicle in front. Yes, that's what we just discussed. But always read the following answers. Switch on your hazard warning lights. Your hazard warning lights is not going to affect the person behind. They know they're driving too close. They're just being an idiot. So switching that on is not going to change anything. Obviously, braking sharply, they're going to go into the back of you. That can't be safe. And move onto the hard shoulder and stop. You wouldn't be doing that because it's not an emergency. Hard shoulders are just for emergencies only. You're driving along a wet road. How can you tell if your vehicle's tires are losing their grip on the surface? Right, so you're driving along a wet road. How can you tell if your vehicle's tires are losing their grip on the surface? Which is called aquaplaning, in other words. And again, that question comes up a lot. Aquaplaning, it's just like gliding on water or like being on ice. And there's no grip, basically, or the steering is going to feel light. But anyway, let's see what they're giving us. The engine will stall. No. Engine noise will increase. No. The steering will feel very light. Yes. The steering will feel very heavy. No. The steering is going to feel light because there's no grip. As I said, it's called aquaplaning, just in case it comes up in a theory test. It's just gliding on water. What requires extra care when you're driving or riding in windy conditions? So what requires extra care? Passing pedal cyclists, yeah, because if it's windy, they could be blown all over the place, so you're going to give them plenty of room. That's similar to the motorcycle question we had earlier on, just worded differently. Moving off on a hill, no. Using the brakes, no. And turning to a narrow road, no. Where is your vehicle's most likely, let's read that again. Where is your vehicle most likely to be affected by side winds? Now, you've got to be very careful with this, okay? On a busy stretch of road, no. On an open stretch of road, it's going to be open. When it's really windy, especially a high-sided vehicle, when it's windy, they actually close the roads to lorries and vans because it's going to be blown. So it's an open road, fields either side or a bridge. A long straight road is the common answer that my pupils go through in the classroom, but a long straight road can have houses either side, so it's broken up by the wind. And on a narrow country lane, no, if it's narrow, the wind's not going to get through as much. It's an open stretch road, like fields either side. What can result when you travel for long distances in neutral, known as coasting? Now, if you didn't know, coasting is two plates, one connected to the wheel, one connected to the engine. When they're together, they're working together, so you get in full control of the car. When you put the clutch down, they get separated. The common coasting maneuver on a driving lesson or driving test is when you go around the corner with the clutch down. I have got a link to a video that I've done, and I'll put it up here somewhere so you can watch that video and understand what coasting is. It's just a lack of control, basically. You should always have the clutch fully up when you go around corners or in second gear or higher. So let's go back to the question. Read the question again. What can result when you're traveling for long distances in neutral, known as coasting? Reduction in control, yep. They can put lack of engine braking, which is another way they word it. That's why I say understand the questions and answers. Improvement in control, no. Increased fuel consumption, no. And easier steering, no. It's going to be lack of control. How can you use your vehicle's engine as a brake? Now, to use your engine as a brake, you're going to use a lower gear. So it's going to be first or second and bring the clutch up and have engine braking. So you're looking for a lower gear on this one. By changing to a higher gear, you're going to go faster, so you're not controlling the speed by doing that. By selecting neutral, technically neutral is not a gear, that's why you do handbrake neutral when you park up on your driving lessons. And by selecting reverse gear, you're not controlling your speed. You can't go into reverse gear while the car's moving forward anyway, that's to stop completely. And by changing to a lower gear is going to give you control. First or second gear will do that. You're about to start a journey in freezing weather. What part of your vehicle should you clear of ice and snow? Again, should. For aerial, no. For boots, no. For bumper, no. The windows, because if you can't see, you can't be safe. It's going to be the windows. What would suggest you're driving on an icy road? So what would suggest that you're driving on an icy road? There's less wind noise, no. There's less tire noise. Think about it as well. What's connected to ice when you drive? It's your wheels. So there's going to be less tire noise on that one. There's sometimes a little nuggets in there if you actually look for it. So ice, wheels, tires, there's a connection there. There's less engine noise, no. There's less transmission noise, no. So that's the connection between the two. You're driving in a built up area that has traffic calming measures. What should you do when you approach a road hump? And then just check the image. So these are speed humps. If you don't know what traffic calming measures are, there's 3 types. There's a speed hump that's on the image that we're tackling that question with. There's width restriction where you got to go through a tight space really slowly. And there's chicanes where the pavement sort of comes out. If you watch Formula 1, the red bits is called chicanes. They've got to slow down to negotiate that. So that's what the 3 traffic calming measures are, and they're designed to keep you slower, i.e. reduce your speed. So I'll read the question again. You're driving in a built up area that has traffic calming measures. What should you do when you approach a road hump? Stop and check both pavements, no. Move across to the left hand side of the road, no. Wait for pedestrians to cross, no. Check your mirrors and slow down, yes. You're driving on an open road in dry weather, so it's dry. What distance should you keep from the vehicle in front? 2 car lengths? No. 2 meters? No. 1 car length? No. A 2-second time gap? Yes. 2 seconds when it's dry, 4 seconds when it's wet, up to 10 times more when it's ice and snow. That's your stopping distances, by the way, I just quoted. What will help you to move off on a snowy surface? Using the parking brake and foot brake together, you know that doesn't happen. And if you're using your foot brake, that's not helping you move off, that's stopping you. Using the car's lowest gear, that's power. You don't want power on ice and snow. Using a high engine speed, no. Using a higher gear than normal, it's going to be this one. The higher the gear, the weaker the power. You don't want power on ice and snow. To be honest, you're probably looking at 3rd gear on that so you don't get a wheel spin. What will be affected if the road surface becomes soft in very hot weather? Now this comes up a lot in the classroom as well. When it gets really hot, the sun makes the tarmac soft. And again, as new drivers, you need to be aware of this because it does affect the driving or the handling of the vehicle. The exhaust emissions, no. The suspension, no. The tire grip, yep, because it's rubber sticking to hot tarmac. It's really sticky, makes your steering a little bit heavier, a little bit stiffer. And the fuel consumption, no. And there you have it, another category tackle, safety margins. And again, one of the really easier ones to do on your theory test. Hopefully you got some benefit from that. If you did, like, comment below and subscribe. Share it with your friends as well who are studying for their theory test. YouTube's going to show you a video here. I'm going to show you one here. Go off and watch which one is suitable for you, and I will catch you in that video.